What's up, guys? Back again, Dynamic Man. What the fuck is wrong with this camera? Doesn't it look all nasty? Hold on a second, guys. I'm coming. Something's going on here. I have to take this little camera lens off. Is that a little better? That's a little better. That's a little better. It's not a lot better though. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this thing. One more try. I know we got to get going, so we may just have to suffer through it. I don't know what the. I think I'm gonna have to take this webcam thing off because this thing is getting all nasty. It's getting all nasty and smudged in there. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me get going with this. I don't have the luxury of fixing this camera because we got to go. We got to get going. I got client calls. All right, guys. Dominant women and submissive men. Okay, this is inspired by a couple of tweets on the timeline the other day. First, we had this one here. One of my favorite stats: submissive men outnumber dominant women by a factor of 2 to 4, depending on the study. Being a submissive guy puts you in a terrible position in the dating market, and if it's possible for you to shed that preference, you probably should. And then we had this this girl, Emily May, notoriously annoying and clowning on men. She says, well, yes, submissive men outnumber submissive women. Men love being told what to do and taking orders. It's arguably much more natural for them. I don't even know what the fuck's wrong with this woman. This is like total clown comment right here. This is the reason this stuff kind of bothers me. I know it shouldn't bother me. It's fucking internet. But the reason this stuff bothers me is that you have someone like her who's got such an axe to grind, right? Such an axe to grind against men. And she goes on the internet and she says this kind of stuff. And all she does, she just literally makes relationships between the sexes worse. Like, there are people like Brittany Hugo Bloom at Evie who are legitimately trying to help men and women fall in love, understand each other, right? Women to be feminine but respected, cherished, cared for, right? And then you have these clowns who go on the internet and they literally just, all they do is try to make men and women hate each other because it makes their ego feel better. This is the thing. This is what I said. Men only enjoy taking orders in hierarchical systems which reward them with authority for their responsibility. And they only agree to take these orders from men with more responsibility than them, ideally under meritocratic conditions that allow them to rise in ranks if they prove themselves. They don't enjoy taking orders from women who take on less responsibility than them and whose demands often have zero or even negative practical purpose. The only reason a man accepts this dynamic is when he's spiritually beaten slave. Some women need the ego boost of bossing their man around, but it reflects just as bad on the woman because it shows no strong or desirable man actually wanted her. It is a sign she settled. She traded love for control. Okay? I want to talk a little bit about this because, look, there is a small cool, I don't know about this 2 to more submissive men in general. I don't know about this. I'm presuming it's true, okay? I'm presuming it's true. Because there's a lot of spiritually beaten down men out there. There's a lot of guys who sit around watching cuck porn all day, fucking jerking at the cuck porn. There's a lot of guys like that. So it doesn't surprise me that there's more submissive men than women, at least in terms of their behavior, right? You can cut a guy's balls off, doesn't act like a man anymore. That's what's happening to people. But you cut a guy's balls off, it's arguably not a man. He ceases to be defined by that. We have different words for animals when we cut their balls off. You know that? Do you know that? You have a bull and you have a heifer. Okay? A heifer is a castrated bull. Just make sure that's true, actually. I want to make sure that's true. No, that's not right. Is that not right? There's hold on a second. Hold on. I want to get this. I know I'm right though. Okay, a steer. There we go. It's a steer. See, look, I'm glad I checked. I'm glad I checked. But I knew, I knew. See, this is what happens when you're so pulled away from the farm life. You know, we don't even know the farm life anymore. Yeah, bull steer. Okay, we have words for animals when their balls are cut off. So maybe we shouldn't be calling these guys men. Now, look, historically, naturally, about 10% of men are maybe more feminine in nature. Okay, and that's a very different phenomenon. Just like 10% of women are dominant in nature. Like I think Tulsi Gabbard is probably a masculine woman. Those are like the only 10% of women who actually can be in male environments, and they do fine in the male environments. Prior to feminism, okay? They've always existed. You've always had these outliers. Doesn't make you, you know, a cuck or whatever to admit this. But what we're seeing today is a much different phenomenon. What we're seeing today are men who are spiritually castrated. And we are seeing women who are entitled bitches. Just being blunt here. That's what it is. They are, and they're hurting. They're hurting because they don't feel like they can get a man who's going to actually love them. They have too much ego, too many defenses up. So they just want control. They just want to have control. They just want their ego validated. A lot of women are having terrible success in the dating market because they can't get over their ego's need to control interactions. I would not call these women really dominant, though. I would call them domineering because they're not actually dominant, they're just obnoxious. But if you're a spiritually beaten down man, if you're castrated, then you are going to end up with one of these women because you don't have any will of your own. You like being told what to do. You're just happy that once in a blue fucking moon, she throws you some pussy. And it's once in a blue moon. You better bet your ass about that. You're mostly just a fucking pack mule for her. So I've seen these relationships, and I'm really not even friends with people who have them anymore. Most of the guys who've had these relationships that I've known in my life, I'm no longer friends with because they are faggots. They let themselves get pushed around by their women, and my wife doesn't respect them, and I don't respect them either. The wives are obnoxious, so it's not like my wife even likes to be friends with them. So let's get this straight, okay? Let's get it straight. Men are happy, or at least willing, men with a spirit are willing to take orders from men who have more responsibility, who are more impressive than them. That's mentorship in the best of circumstances. Male hierarchical systems, though, are totally different than male-female dynamics. They're totally different. A woman is supposed to be the figure who inspires a man and who believes in him and who motivates him. Doesn't mean that she can't ever call him out on some stuff, right? She's allowed to have an opinion, but women are most effective at transforming their men by amplifying them. A woman in her feminine takes what a man does and amplifies it. She multiplies it. Okay? A lot of women don't know how to do this anymore. And they're frustrated, so they end up being domineering and obnoxious and controlling. And then they can tell themselves, well, you know, men like being told what to do. You just got a fucking loser. How about that? Got a fucking loser. All right, guys, I got to jump on a client call. I apologize. This is a very short one, but I really just wanted to, I needed to say something about this for today's episode. This is just like, don't mistake a man taking orders. Do not mistake a man taking orders with a man when he's in a structure, especially that he can rise in. It's not the same thing. Every man is at a certain point in the competence hierarchy, and he moves up the competence hierarchy over time, He moves up in it over time because because he shows his worth both in courage and competence to the tribe, right? To the organization. It's not that a woman says, go do this, or I'm going to throw a temper tantrum. And he does it every single time. Stuff's crazy. Some of these women are crazy. I don't know what sort of like bizarro world we're on. Anyway, guys, I apologize for the short show. I'm glad to hear you are in Moscow. Hopefully it's a little less cold over there. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll see you, COVID Cabal. If you like COVID Cabal, you know, different channel. See you guys Sunday at 2 p.m. Otherwise, I'll see you here on Monday. Take care, guys.